So our first example, as you'll recall, is the one where we just simply lose momentum, okay? This is the less frequent kind of top you're going to see. So as you can see in the chart or in the volume profile, we have a lot of TPO overlap at this high. So you can see almost the S, the T, the U, the V, and the W print almost all sort of sitting at these prices, these higher prices being advertised, but there's a real lack of interest to initiate another move higher. So it's almost like, buyers and sellers are saying, well, we're happily, accepting that the market is now trading these prices. So again, we can see that this is just almost like a slow, just a slowing type of momentum that's occurring at the high of the day. Now, some of the questions we need to ask ourselves, when we talk about these three different tops being formed is, firstly, remember when a market is moving either up or down, I like to have a phrase and just remind myself that it takes time for a big ship to turn around. So remember, the market equally is a big ship, so it does take time to turn around a lot of the time. And knowing this again will keep you from maybe fading very aggressive trends too soon, but also it'll make you just be that little bit patient to wait for some form of objectivity that the volume profile can potentially show you. And what you can see in this example is how we can see that real loss of momentum. We got the initiative early on from buyers, and then there was just a real lack of interest and a real lack of new business at the higher prices. So that was sort of our clue that a potential loss of momentum was occurring. Now, remember, when we get this loss of momentum type top, it's not a particularly strong top. It's merely just a short-term turning point where buyers don't want to initiate higher just yet. And so at that point, we start to get a little more two-way trade. Now, some of the questions we need to ask ourselves when talking and thinking about these kinds of tops is, what kind of volume is being traded at the extreme? And what you'll tend to find is that there's not aggressive kind of volume, but a lot of two-way trade between buyers and sellers. So, we'll see a lot of trade being facilitated at the highs and lows. And remember what we said, in a very strong auction process, we don't want to see a lot of facilitation at what we deem premium prices or discount prices. When we see this, a high amount of volume being facilitated, is telling us there's quite a lot of acceptance, at that price point. And remember, highs and lows are not made on acceptance. Rather, they're made on sort of initiative being taken from sellers at higher prices as prices are advertised at a premium, and likewise for buyers when prices are being priced at a discount. Then, what kind of auction is occurring at the extreme? So again, note, at very aggressive tops and bottoms, we tend to see a strong auction process. Sellers take advantage of premium prices, and buyers don't buy at premium prices. So again, in this example, we can see that we see a lot of two-way trade between the buyers and sellers. So again, whilst the market did back away off these higher prices, it is telling us about the kind of top that is in the market, and more importantly, the likelihood or the probability that at some point in the future we'll either retest or take out that high, and new buyers then continue to move prices higher. And lastly, the rotation and the speed on the way down. Remember what I said to you. As these buyers run into responsive sellers at higher prices, if those responsive sellers turn and become initiative sellers, the market will very quickly reverse what it did on the upside. So the mere fact that, not only did, we have almost a slowish type reversal, but again a retest, is very suggestive that, that this market sort of, whilst there was a little bit of initiative taken from the sellers, we do want to assess, how the buyers and sellers are interacting at various prices. When there's an aggressive interaction at higher prices, that is telling us one thing. When there's not such an aggressive interaction, that's telling us another thing. What's imperative to understand is this kind of interaction, because that will determine what prices are likely to do going forward. Let's now look at the second example, which is an excess top.